Welcome to Modern Sages podcast. I am seriously so blessed for this amazing conversation that I had with Spirit Mamas. Tiffany and Victoria are co-founders of Spirit Mamas. They have member community, ceremonial circles, courses, workshops, and they have an amazing, beautiful Spirit Mama Oracle deck. They really help women empower and embrace who they truly are and refine their dedication, their light, their love, and really honoring being mothers, being women, co-creating, all of that. So seriously, I've had chills the whole conversation and I cannot wait for you to listen in. Are you searching? Are you looking for something new, something different? Are you being called to your ancestral roots? The Modern Sages podcast is a tribe of women that believe in exploring beyond the broken constructs of society. We believe in empowering women to embrace the medicine within, all with an open mind, baby. In the month of October, so before we jump into this conversation, I typically always talk about an herb of the week. However, today I really felt inspired to invite you to add an element into this coming month of October of fire. We know that the realm of the spirits is closer as we all have that intention as well of being closer to our spirits, our ancestors, our guides. And I found a very beautiful way is lighting a candle and just saying a prayer, asking them to be with you, thanking them for their support, for who they were in this life with you, trying to bridge that communication if you have that desire. But lighting a candle and just setting that intention, setting that prayer truly is a beautiful way of finding that deep connection. And as I was reflecting today upon what to share, I just felt like adding that fire of element is such a profound and beautiful space to work within. And so, you can get those 7-day candles, or if you just have some candles of your own, it's all about kind of setting that beautiful intention for having that connection. So, without further ado, let's dive in with the Spirit Mamas. So, well, welcome, welcome. I feel so honored to have Spirit Mamas here with us. It's been really fun watching them online and how they interact with each other. I feel like a lot of times in the spiritual world, it can become easy to have people kind of combat back and forth, like have the ego kind of get in the way. And they're just such a great example of working in the feminine flow together, and what they're doing together and separate is so beautiful. So I'm excited for our tribe to get a look into the life of Spirit Mamas. So I kind of wanted to start with both of you just explaining and kind of expressing how you stepped into your medicine within. So Victoria, do you want to start just giving a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Jen. I'm really been leaning into the medicine within. I'm 3 months postpartum right now, and I'm reminded constantly that tears are medicine and that working together is medicine, that there is so much to be had going inward. But hi, listeners, I'm Victoria. I am one half of Spirit Mamas. I'm an Akashic Records reader, breathwork and inner voice facilitator, and mama to two beautiful boys. And I had a miscarriage, was how really I started on this path in 2018. And it really brought me to my knees, and I was surrendering to something higher than myself, even though I didn't know what that was. I just knew that I wanted to move through this grief with ease. And I really found that sharing what I was going through was really helpful to myself, but also to others. And when I did get pregnant with my first son, Sebastian, after that, Tiffany was pregnant at the same time with her youngest, Lennox. And we'd worked together in marketing, and we kind of reconnected. And after having Sebastian, I was in this not void space, but postpartum is such a time to really rebirth yourself, I've found. And there were so many questions that I had of, how do I do this? Who am I? What do I want from life? And I really realized that the deeper that I went using tools like the Akashic Records and breath work and meditation and all of the things that I've been learning these last couple of years, it allowed me to really go in and find out who I am at my core so that I could stop looking outside of myself for all the answers. And it was really empowering, and coming together with Tiffany, we've really found that it's a way to help not only us heal and grow as mamas and women and humans, but kind of exactly what you said before we started the podcast, that showing what we're going through and shining our lights has allowed other women to know that it's safe for them to do the same. And I really love that that's your mission, because that's a lot of what we do. That coming together in ceremonial circle with women has been one of the most healing things I've ever done in my life, because you realize that the woman next to you is not your competition.
Right.
She's your collaborator. She is part of the medicine when you come together in sacred circle. And I'm just blown away by the magic and the work that Tiffany and I have done together, because it's all been very guided by the universe, guided by spirit, and us just following our intuition. And I think without that, I don't know where I would be in my life right now. And I'm a totally different person since we started this work, because I feel like I've uncovered and remembered who I am, and shed a
Right.
lot of layers that society told me, of who I was or who I should be, to instead find like who I am at my core.
That's
And Tiff,
beautiful.
you've been connected way longer than I have in the spiritual world, but I feel like you've had some beautiful shifts like the last couple of years as well.
Yeah, I was thank you so much for all of that. I was reading about your bio too, Tiffany, and I just want to call you Tiff because I feel like I know you already,
Yeah,
which
call
is
me
so
Tiff.
funny. Um, but I was reading all about your experience and even being connected as a young child and everything like that, and really diving deep into your ancestral connection of spiritual gifts, which is so beautiful. So I can't wait to hear about that.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Jen, thanks so much for having us. So I'm Tiffany, the other half of Spirit Mom. Mamas, I'm a mom of two beautiful boys, Logan, who is 12, and Lennox, who is 3. And yeah, I have been pretty much connected since before I guess I can remember. I think around 8 years old is when I feel like my parents kind of set me down and started just having those conversations, because I think, now being a mom and looking at my boys, like when they wake up from dreams or they have experiences, I'm sure my parents kind of had those aha moments as well. Like, okay, especially on my dad's side of the family, because they're very connected. So I just remember around 8, like my dad talking to me about, you may see spirits or you may be connected, and me not really understanding what that was, but still understanding just because I would see things and I would hear things. And then probably about the age of 13 is when I started having like very vivid dreams that would come to reality. And so, but with that, I shied away from those spiritual gifts. And I think I only told like my mom, my dad, like my close family, and then like a best friend of mine whose family was from Jamaica, and her mom happened to be connected as well. And so I just felt comfortable talking to her about it. And so fast forward to when I had Logan, who probably around the age of 5 is when I went through what I call like my real spiritual awakening, and really trying to do research into what is Reiki, how do I kind of step into my power? Because when having a child, you already open a portal for the child to come through, but then it's almost like you step into a portal yourself. And it comes this place of like self-realization for me that was like, why are you shying away from, having these premonitions or being connected? And why not step into your truth and power? Because seeing this beautiful spirit, my son, who, he had no regrets, he had nothing holding him back, like he was just flowing. And I was like, why can I still do that? And I don't want him to forget that. And so I think for me, that's when I really stepped into my true spiritual power. And like Victoria said, we were pregnant. So 9 years later, I have Lennox, and I had, by now I was a Reiki healer, and I was, talking to people at work about their dreams and things of that nature. But I feel like with Lennox, it really reminded me of my true purpose, that I am a healer. And why not take that on as like your everyday job? And so when talking to Victoria, we were just kind of like, well, how can we like empower? How can we share our gifts with the world? And then it was really at the time about us being moms and being like spiritual
Yeah.
moms.
Yeah.
And from that, I think we have just created this beautiful space that we hold for women to really step into their powers and not shy away from it. Because so for me, I was in it by myself. Like I went through my spiritual awakening alone. Like I think I had like maybe one friend on and off, no one to talk to. And what I find with what me and Victoria offer is we have this space where women can really ask these questions, or we can support one another with breath work, or just, you know, going within and really like supporting one another on this spiritual journey as moms and as women. And so I think what we've created is just been so divine and so beautiful. And I'm just really happy about where we're going.
Yeah, it is so beautiful. And hearing both of your stories and your dedication together is so powerful. Like I can just feel it in my bones. I can feel it everywhere. It's so beautiful. And I think that there is this, I've noticed as delivering messages as a medium, um, I have noticed that there are a lot of times where these kids, when they come, and of course we know like kids nowadays are a lot more spiritually in tune. They've got this higher frequency of connection. And it almost feels like a lot of times these children open up this portal and like bring in this awakening for the mom or for the family as well. Like they just naturally like, this is who I am, and it's time for you to step up to my soul's purpose as well. So I've seen that happen quite a bit in delivering messages. So I love to hear that, you know, it seems like both of you experience similar experiences in that way. And I think too, in the time of this transition and change, I feel like a lot of people are moving away from things that maybe they have been told or it needed to be, or how they needed to raise their children and have structure and in all these ways. And it feels like so many people are in this space of remembering who they truly are. And that comes along with finding different ways of teaching their children to be more intuitive and to be more in that space. And so it just feels like what you guys are doing is so powerful because you can also give a space for women to know what they believe and how they can empower their children in a different way than in the past, which is so beautiful.
Exactly. And, Tiffany can share more because with Logan, I feel like she started really early doing that. And it's, interesting to see my children. I don't shy away from meditating in front of them or crying in front of them or being my full self. And I think, it's being a parent is so interesting because you can catch where you still have wounding and where you still need to do work. And it can be really hard, but it's so beautiful, like you said, Jen, because I truly believe my second son, Rocky, that was just born. I mean, we've had many lifetimes together. And I just can't wait to see what lessons we're supposed to learn in this lifetime.
Mm,
And I'm, constantly reminded that they are gentler souls, right? That it's okay for them to show emotion. It's okay for them to be exactly who they are, like you said. And I think it not only helps, us as moms, but it helps the entire family, for my husband to see that, right? For the extended family around us to see that. It's such a ripple effect because that's not necessarily how they were raised or what they believe in. And even just being able to show that example for them of holding space in a very conscious way, I think is helping change, the frequency of the planet right now. And it's always so interesting because you have duality, right? So as much as all of these light beings are coming into the world, it also feels like there's so much darkness in the world right now too. But that has to happen. There has to be balance. There has to be equilibrium. And I think people can get a little scared with everything that's happening, but I would just say the more that you tune into yourself and that you tune inward and you raise your own vibration, it's going to root out the darkness. It's going to root out the things that, need to come to the light, that need that medicine, that need that love. And it's a really beautiful time to be alive. And all of our souls chose to be here right now as, the transcenders, as the alchemizers. And it's just beautiful. I don't It's so funny because I'm like, where is this even coming from? I feel like I'm just like channeling information right now
I know,
because
it's beautiful.
but it felt like a message that needs to be shared, right? That duality is something that's there for a reason, but that
Absolutely.
it shouldn't be shied away from.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. I completely 100% agree. In that space for sure, because that is a duality. And when we can embrace that and see it's such a beautiful aspect of life, you know, it helps us be more anchored in ourself and in this physical body and everything like that. So I absolutely love that. And I know that you guys also have the most beautiful, oh my gosh, the most beautiful inspired Mama Spirit Oracle deck that every time it's just everything is like so beautiful about it. So how did that come about?
I remember when Victoria and I like wrote out like it was kind of like our wish list, like we were manifesting what we wanted from the business. And so one thing on there was like a podcast, and then we had like oracle cards, and we just wrote it on paper. And I don't think we really thought about it too often. It's a lot of things that like will come back around like every month and be like, okay, Tiff, Vic, we got to do this, right? But like for the Oracle cards, it was something that was like just on our radar to do one day, and it happened really quickly. Victoria was on Instagram and ran into like this beautiful artist, and then like it was like everything else just fell into place. So like a year ago in November, going on a year ago, we were at our retreat, and Victoria had already kind of found the artist, and we just started like writing out, like we built every card like with just the names, and then over like a few months period we like literally curated and manifested like every single word, every single image, every single picture, every single message was channeled from a place of love. And so it was really a beautiful work of art, and I'm like so proud of it. I sit in my office and look at these envelopes that I have to like mail stuff off like probably 2-3 times a week, and I'm just like in awe at like the fact that we have an oracle deck that people like, our names are like out there in the universe at this point, and it's just amazing. We've received quite a few like bookstores that want to have our cards there. We've received tons of orders, and I mean, I'm just tossing this out here now, but I can see like another deck coming one day too. So like, version 2 for whatever reason. But yeah, but it's beautiful. You don't have your cards with you, Victoria, do you? I was like, we could pull a card. Oh, good. Okay. Okay, we'll pull a card before we get off, Jen.
Yeah, that would be beautiful. I know I still need to get mine. It's on my list of it's on the next thing on my list. I like have these, like there's so many tools and beautiful things that's like number one right now on my list. So
Yeah.
it's seriously so beautiful. And I know that you said that you also, you have a retreat coming up in Georgia, and
Yeah.
then you also do ceremonies. So do you want to kind of touch upon that as well?
Yes. So we have we call it the Georgia Mountain Renewal Retreat. And basically it's a retreat in the North Georgia mountains, and we'll get in on Friday, leave on Sunday, but we do everything from Reiki, sound healing, opening the Akashic records, meditating, hiking. Basically, we're holding space for beautiful women to just, go through reconnecting to themselves. And what we found last year when we did it was like, I think we were blown away. It was our first in-person thing that we had, and it was so powerful. Victoria and I also did a lot of healing. So not only we came to hold space for other women, but they also held space for us. And so we're really excited. It is October 21st, the weekend of October 21st, in the North Georgia mountains. So I'm not sure when this podcast is coming out, but Jen, we would love for you to join us since you're here in Georgia. Like, check it out. And then we also hold full moon circles every month to honor the moon and the magic of the moon. And
Beautiful.
yeah, so I mean, we have so many amazing things, and most of our stuff is virtual. So we have the full moon circles that are virtual. We have Healing the Mother Wound, which is a 4-week container. We're entering round 5 in just a few weeks. And basically, we start at the lower chakra and come up through the heart space each week, kind of like shedding off the layers of ancestral trauma, and
Oh,
just,
that's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, like really working on healing
Wow.
the mother wound. And so, I mean, what am I missing, Victoria?
Nothing. You did such a beautiful job. I feel like we've really found that this sacred work in ceremonial circle is where the magic is for us, because kind of like we said earlier, just when women come together, we are so powerful. And when
Right.
we come together in ceremony, we heal so much more, so much faster. Every time we have a group of women come together, there's always some kind of through line, right? Like they all have either similar stories, or there's similar things that we're trying to heal. And that's no coincidence. I really believe that we attract the exact right women to the exact right container at the exact right time. And, as we were talking kind of before the podcast started, you don't have to be a mother to work with us. I think we have a lot of women that are moms, of course, but we have even more that aren't, that just want that mothering energy, that nurturing energy that I think Tiffany and I bring to everything that we do. And, if you have a mother, you have a mother wound. And I think,
Right.
that's been some of our most important work, because the energy that your grandmother experienced, you've experienced because you were inside your mother who was inside her. And I know that's kind of trippy to think about, but that energy sticks around.
Hmm.
And there are so many women walking around carrying energy that isn't theirs, guilt and shame and negative emotions that are from lifetimes ago. And so we work with our healed ancestors specifically to help alchemize and move through a lot of the emotions and the things that our ancestors couldn't. And
Yeah.
it still amazes me that Tiffany and I, this is our fifth round, like she said, go deeper ourselves every single time. And especially now, being postpartum, this mother wound healing has like a whole new meaning for me. And I really just love that as we grow and shift and change as space holders and as healers, our containers grow and shift and change as well. And it just always, I'm always amazed by what spirit brings together and who spirit brings together. And I don't know why I am, because it's always magical, but every time I'm always like, oh my God, no way. People want to work with us. Oh my God, no way.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Okay, so there's two things before you pull a beautiful card that you're talking about. The first thing that's popping up to me is it's such a good example of just like what you're doing and who you are. And, when those people are following you online and being a part of your communities and all of that, of course, there's beautiful healing and empowerment there. But I feel like even for myself, like I'm 28 and we're talking about having a baby, right? And I have had this career of being a medium and podcasting and like just really like honing into this energy. And part of me is like, oh, if I have a kid, like everything changes. And am I ready for that? You know what I'm saying? So like I just see like you guys navigating and still being empowered in this space. I feel like is so beautiful because you see so many women who get stuck or who lose themselves when they have children. And so I love that you have this space about you that you can do both and they're both connected. They're not separate, which I think is beautiful. And it's like, oh, it's a reminder like, yeah, it can be. Of course, there are going to be things that you get rid of and things that come and go. And that's just part of it. So it's just a good example for me. But what would be some advice for those, let's say, those women who feel like they have lost themselves, whether that be, a mom or someone who's in the 9 to 5 job who just feels like they lost who they are in the rut of life. What would be like from each of you a word of advice for them?
So for me, what I will say is that you will go through a period of losing yourself, right? Because your energy initially goes towards that baby, especially being a new mom. But as long as you know how to find your way back, a lot of times we lose ourselves because we have to heal and then come back as a new person, as a new. So it's nothing wrong with losing yourself, right? And I think that in life, when you go through um amazing life-changing things like having a baby, getting married, getting a house, death, like, it brings new life. So the advice I want to have is don't be afraid about losing yourself because it definitely will happen. But I think, it's about finding a routine or what we like to call rituals to get back to yourself. So for me, when I lost myself, and I really lost myself this second time around. I don't think I lost myself as much with the first baby. I was like this young 28-year-old. I was like, I'm having a baby. I'm like, it was a different time in life for me. But with Lennox, I lost myself, and I think I went through. Now thinking back on it, I definitely was going through postpartum and not realizing what it was. A lot of crying and like watching Victoria now as she shares her story. I realized like I was going through it too. But for me, Spirit Mamas was birthed out of that postpartum that I didn't realize I was having. And so For me, when I'm losing myself, it's really about honoring myself, because realizing that you cannot give to your babies or anything else that you birth without giving from a, pouring from a full cup. So for me, I meditate. My thing is meditating. I try to meditate at least once a day. If I don't, that's okay. But like, that's that one like solid thing that I keep in my life. Also, I try to do affirmations where I'm really like pouring into myself. As women, a lot of times we do not give ourselves credit for the things that we do. Society has not set us up to really give ourselves kudos. And so for me, it's writing out those affirmations of all the things that I am in the beginning of the day. And then taking a breath. A lot of times when I get frazzled with the kids, and they're running around like crazy guys, because I have two boys, they run around like crazy guys, and I have a dog. It's all male energy here except for me. Um, Victoria taught me this, but it's really just taking a breath and becoming present, and just like really listening to my heartbeat and the breath go in and out through my body, because without breath I'm nothing. Like, that is what's keeping me alive, right? And so it's taking that moment to really reconnect with source, which is the breath for me. And then I can come back and step back into mommyhood and pour from a full cup. So it's a few things, and I know Victoria has her own routine, but the advice would be, you are going to lose yourself, but it's okay. Find that routine to really pour back into yourself.
That's beautiful. Thank you. I love all of that. And I've noticed that, everything stems back to meditation and breath. Everything in the past 3 weeks has been like, hey, meditation and breath. And it's so interesting how it feels like such a simple foundation, but yet it's like it takes effort and practice and it takes intention to remind yourself of something that can be so simple and so profound that we are like, I have to do this and this and this and this. It's like, well, what about the basics? What about this space right here, the foundation, which I feel like I get lost in sometimes too. So thank you for that. It's
Exactly.
beautiful.
And it may not seem sexy, right? But you don't have to go meditate on a mountaintop for an hour. Like, it could be a 3-minute breath work that is super powerful and can move you through your emotions. And, I think having kids is so expansive. It's been the most expansive thing I've ever done. And I think, a lot of moms think, oh, I'm going to have less time. And you do in certain instances, right? Because you're always chasing after your kids. But I feel like it's made me want to make more out of my day. It's made me want to, be a better me. And I think, like Tiffany said, you are going to lose yourself. And I think it's important to share with people, though, that grief is a part of motherhood, that grief and grieving your old self and your old life and your emotions, and it is a very powerful part of motherhood that you can run away from or you can embrace. And I think embracing it is hard, right? Someone told me the other day, they were like, these mix of emotions, that they're happy, they're hurting, and they're healing all at the same time. And I was like, shit, that's postpartum. That's exactly what postpartum is. And once you accept that you're going to be moving through these things, I feel like it's a lot easier. But as Tiffany said, you can't pour from an empty cup. So tuning into what you need every single day. And it can be different, right? It could be that you just need to get outside and walk in nature. It could be that you just need to take a bath because you haven't taken a bath in a couple of days as a new mom. Or it
Yeah.
could be, that you want to like actually spend a whole half of a day in a ceremony or something, but giving yourself that. And, this is something that's come up recently, but I always used to like really thank my husband for taking the baby. Like, oh my God, thank you for giving me time. Oh my God, thank you. No, that's him being a father. Like,
Right.
you deserve to go take this time for yourself. Like, don't make it the small thing, and don't say like, oh, okay, I'm only gonna go do this. No, take as much time as you need to make yourself feel better, because then it's gonna ripple out to your family in the most beautiful way.
Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. Yeah, all of it is so good. And I know that the Modern Sages Soul Tribe, that I know that everything you're sharing is so aligned and exactly what they also need to hear. So thank you so much. I just feel so honored. And I can't believe we live so close to each other. Like, what? I need to be a part of all these things now.
Yes,
Because
we'll have
we
to.
just, yeah, I just moved here like 4 months ago. And so when you move to a new place, you're just trying to like find your tribe, trying to find people, so it can be a little bit lonely at times. So I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. That's awesome.
Yes, we are super close.
Yes, beautiful. Awesome. Well, let's have a card pulled.
Yes. So this one just jumped out of the deck. It's greater intuition. Oh, which way I have there we go. Um,
Oh,
and it's just this beautiful reminder for those that can't see the card. There's a beautiful woman in meditation, and behind her is the balance of the yin and the yang and the dark and the light. And this to me is just a reminder. It's so interesting. We were talking about the duality at the beginning of the call,
right.
but we're also in Libra season, which is all about balance. And I think this card is really about going inward and accepting both parts of yourself, right? So going inward to realize that it's okay to be in the darkness sometimes, and going inward to realize it's okay to be in the light sometimes, and that you have all of these things inside of you, and that you are all things and all things are you, and you are so connected. And right now is a time that as a collective, the more that we tap into ourselves, the more that you're tapping into not necessarily the hive mind, but kind of, right, of everyone else around you. And it's coming through really strongly to have everyone, do this exercise I love to do called Tree of Life, where you're pulling energy up from the earth through the bottoms of your feet. And then you're calling your energy down from the cosmos by saying your full name to yourself 3 times. And then you envision yourself as a tree that's digging your roots into the ground, getting really grounded, really centered, and allowing yourself to sprout into whatever tree at the top that comes to you. But taking a second in that space to imagine everyone around you as trees, and really feeling into your body and feeling where in your body do you feel connected, if you feel connected, to all of these trees around you, and taking a few deep breaths from that space, and then allowing yourself to go back into the world renewed, knowing that you are one with everything around you, and that you are always supported and you are always connected. And then looking out for signs from the universe throughout your day. I see signs in nature all the time: butterflies and frogs and geckos and just any kind of animals. And so it really feels like anyone listening to this podcast, take some time to go outside in nature today, to connect, to be one with the trees, and see what signs that spirit has for you, because we're in a very heightened state of intuition right now.
So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love all of that. And I even receive that in my space. And I know those listeners will as well. And whenever people listen to it, it's them at that specific time for what that they need. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add there, Tiff?
No, I'm in total agreement with Victoria. I think, we all have that intuition. I think a lot of times we take it for granted, but it is taking those small moments, like walking outside and being intentional with feeling the breeze, looking at the tree, and realizing that, like, when you take that moment and have that present moment, like, you really can almost step into the 5D even if you aren't there yet. You know what I mean? And I know we're there, but there's so many people that aren't. And for me, like, I love going out. I'm gonna do it as soon as we got the phone, but like, I love going outside, and like, when I feel the breeze or I see the moss on the tree that literally jumps out that you didn't recognize, like, I immediately feel my connection to source. And that is part of having that intuition and that duality that Victoria talked about. So, no, I'm in total agreement with the message that came through from her. And I'm gonna do it today. I'm like excited about it. I'm
Me
like,
too.
I don't have to, like, I'm kind of like off of work today. Like, I'm like blocked my whole calendar because Logan's here with me, my oldest, and he's out. So I think I'm gonna ask him, does he want to take a walk with me, because it feels really good here today. So I'm gonna see if he wants to take a walk after this. But no, thanks for that message, Victoria.
Yes. Thank you for reminding us all of that. So I wanted to thank both of you so much, you beautiful spirit mamas, for coming on. And I've been looking forward to this conversation. So thank you for all that you shared, and your wisdom and your guidance and your love. And I just feel like there was so much healing taking place today. So thank you so much for all that you have done. I just feel so grateful.
Thank you so much, Jen, for having us. And I love what you're doing. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you feel called to connect to your medicine within? Have you wanted to strengthen your spiritual gifts? Are you looking for ways to incorporate the sacred into your everyday life? Maybe do you want to have like-minded friends in a tribe who can connect with you? Modern Sage's Soul Tribe is dedicated to spiritual seekers like yourself who are embracing the medicine within. Now, in this tribe, we are going to be doing moon gatherings, amazing spiritual gift giveaways, connecting to a soul tribe, as well as hosting mystery school classes. If you are feeling called to connect to the soul tribe, I will leave a link for you in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening to Modern Sages Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us online. Blessings.